Hey everyone, my name is Ajay, and today we are going to discuss CI/CD concept, which is a continuous integration and continuous deployment with Terraform, and we will talk about the integration of Terraform Cloud with GitHub and finish this session with a small lab building a VNet. Let's understand how the whole topology looks like. So this is a GitHub, which is basically the public repository. You can also install a GitHub desktop version on your machine. However, I'm going to edit all my code directly on this portal. Then you are going to have a Terraform Cloud integration with GitHub. That means whatever the code you edit on GitHub can be pushed to Terraform Cloud, and Terraform Cloud further talks to all the service provider like Azure, AWS, and GCP. This is the same concept I have also explained in my previous video. So you are going to have the three flavors. One is going to be the Terraform CLI, which is basically a kind of the client which you're going to install on your local machine, and from there you can push the code to your cloud provider directly. Then you are going to have the cloud version. It means it is going to run a code on Terraform Cloud. And the third one is for enterprise. If you're the large organization and want to do or want to meet some compliance, then go for enterprise. Since we are going to talk about Terraform Cloud, so you need to have the account. So you can click on try Terraform Cloud. If you do not have the account already, then you need to do the sign up. We'll start from scratch. Create an organization and give your email address. I'm using my personal email address here, and then you can hit the create organization. If you have seen my previous video, we have created a lab using CLI driven workflow. That means you are going to install a open source Terraform software on your local machine, and you are going to push the code from there, which will ultimately going to run on the Terraform cloud. This time we are going to focus on version control workflow. It means you are going to have some sort of the repository hosted somewhere. We already have a organization set up, and it's time to create a workspace. Maybe you can do it from here, the new, or maybe you can create it directly from here. And this time, while creating a new workspace, we need to choose VCW. Now it is going to ask, where is your repository? So you see, for connecting a version control provider, you see an option for GitHub, GitLab, Bitbucket, and you can also connect it with the Azure DevOps. Since we are going to use GitHub public repository, so you need to choose the first option. When you click here on the drop down, you see multiple options. We will go for the github.com. It's time to create the repository on GitHub. So you can see I'm logged into as a owner, and I need to create a repository name. This name can be anything. So I'm giving here Terraform underscore VCS. You can make it either public or private. So I'm going to choose private. If you make it public, anybody can copy your code from public repository. So that is option up to you. If you want to share your code, then make it public, or you go for the private. And then you can hit the create repository. So here your code will reside. After creating the repository, in this case it was Terraform underscore VCS, you need to upload the code. And to upload the code, you should have some files. So you can create files from here, creating a new file. Now it's time to upload the code. So you can see this is my code, and make sure the file name, what you give, it can be any name, by the way, but make sure your extension is TF. That's how it is going to recognize that this is a Terraform code. And then you need to paste your code here. So I'm using provider Azure RM Resource Manager. This is going to be the resource group, and this is going to be the code to create the VNet with 30.000/16. That is going to be the IP subnet. And then hit commit new file. Now you can see a code has been successfully uploaded under the file which is main.tf. And that is exactly what we needed so far. Coming back to Terraform portal, now since we have chosen that we want to use GitHub public repository, the moment you click, it is going to install the GitHub app and it is going to ask for the authentication only. So you can mention here that the Terraform will have access for all repositories, or you may want to go for some selected. So since we have only one repository created so far, so I'm going to give an option for all repository and hit the install. Once you do that, it means you are giving access to Terraform to pull the code, which is going to be there on GitHub repository. Once you authorize Terraform to access the GitHub repository, you see, this is how you're going to see. So this folder is going to pop up here, which you created on Terraform side. Now, you may want to specify a different project directory. However, in this case, I'm going to use default since this is just for the demo purpose. And then you hit create workspace. So the workspace name is going to be the exactly same. And you can see the workspace name it is going to create is going to be exactly same as file or the repository, the folder name what we created on GitHub. And once your workspace is created, which is going to be Terraform underscore VCS, it is parsing the configuration. That means it is pulling the configuration from GitHub. Now, once this workspace is created, we see a kind of the message. There's no variable found. You can mention two type of variables in workspace. One is going to be the environmental. Second one is going to be for your code. So you can go back to your workspace, which is Terraform VCS, and use, say, under the variables, you have an option to add the variables. So click add variables. And the moment you click add variables, it is going to tell you whether these are Terraform variables or these are the environmental. We are going to use environmental as of now. And what it means environmental, it is going to give access to Terraform to create your resources on your service provider. Now you need to create Azure Service Principal. That means you're going to create or going to use the keys, which is basically going to allow you to make changes on your Azure portal. And these are the values you need to pass under the environment variables. One is going to be the subscription ID, client secret, and the tenant ID. I would recommend you can watch my previous video, how did I create it, Azure Service Principal. Let's recap what we have done so far. So there was a script which we created on GitHub, which is pulled by Terraform. And in Terraform, we have mentioned the environment variable means we authorize Terraform to allow changes on Azure portal. And after that, it's time to run the code. So you can go to your workplace and from action, go to the run, start a new run. And I'm just giving a name test. And this time I want to see plan only. It means it is not going to make any changes, but it is going to tell you what exactly this script will make changes on your cloud. So let's start. Now we can see on the screen, this is the demo. And now we see the planning tab. It means Terraform is working on the script. So my plan is running. Now we see on our screen the plan was executed successfully. So it is planned and finished. plan has been finished a few seconds ago, and there are two creates. One is going to be your resource group creation, another one is going to be your virtual network creation. And it is just notifying you if you are going to execute, these are the two components it's going to create on your Azure. If you expand those two resource groups or resource type, one is your resource group. ID will be allocated to you once the deployment is completed. However, the location and the name is mentioned by you, which is successfully taken or exercised by the Terraform. Second is going to be the virtual network. We have mentioned 30.0.0.0/16. That was IP range which was mentioned by us. All these three, DNS, GeoID, and ID, it will come after the deployment on the portal. Location, name, and the resource group name was something which we have mentioned. Subnet, known after apply. Since we have chosen only the plan, it is not going to execute, but it is telling you what exactly the changes it is going to make on your Azure portal. Next time, I'm going to do a run, and this time I'm going to run with plan and apply. It means it is going to be show you the plan which we have done previously, and same time it is also going to apply. So let's hit the start run. And what do we see here? The plan is finished, and these are the two components it is going to create, and it is asking you if you want to make these changes, click on confirm and apply, which I'm going to do it. Before you confirm your plan, you can also pass some of the comments here for what reason you are making these changes, and it's just a track. Maybe you want to look after some time you made these changes and whether they were related to some change number or whatever the requirement you might have. Now we see the plan was finished already and it is applying your configuration on the portal. On the next screen, plan is finished, your apply is finished, and these two resources were created on this subscription. It's time to verify whatever the changes we made from Terraform, whether they exist on the portal or not. So I logged into the Azure portal and you can see there's a network which exists, which is Terraform network with address space 30.0.0.0/16, and that's exactly what we made. If you have noticed, the last time we did the changes while triggering the run manually, and the reason behind, if you go to your workspace and go to the general, you see options, apply method. It was set to manual. It means I need to trigger those run manually. However, there's an option auto apply. What it means, the moment you make any of the changes on your GitHub repository, it is going to trigger a run on Terraform portal. So let's set to auto apply and make some changes on our script. And this time I'm going to add another piece of code while creating a new network, which is going to be the Terraform network 1 with address space 40.0.0.0/16 and hit commit changes. And the moment you hit commit changes, come back to Terraform portal, click on the run, and now you see it is in planning mode. When you click on update main TF, you can see the plan has been finished, apply has been finished, and it created additional VNet on this subscription. That is the whole concept of CI/CD. The moment somebody approves your changes on the repository, you don't need to trigger any changes manually. Terraform is going to take care of that. Let's verify whether those changes are made or not. So this is my resource group, which is main network. And you see now there are two network or two VNets exist. And that's the whole exercise we have done so far. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.